I'm getting ready to hike the Pacific Crest Trail, which means I'm going to be living out of this backpack for the next 5 or 6 months. I would like to point out how committed I am to this video right now. It is like a whole serious snowstorm outside. We got like a foot in the last 24 hours. And I am in my complete PCT get up, head to toe. Okay, so what does it look like exactly to plan for a big trip like the PCT? I'm gonna break this video down into 2 parts. So we're gonna go through gear, everything that I'm bringing with me, and then other than gear, we'll go through kind of planning and logistics. So permitting, mail drops, getting to the trail, stuff like that. Part 1, gear. I love a good gear video, but I hate a gear video that just drags on and on and on. So I've done this format once before and I think it worked really well, so I'm going to do it again. I'm just going to pop everything up on the screen by category. So most importantly, my pack. I'm bringing my Hyperlite Mountain Gear Wind Rider 55 liter. This is my OG pack that I love. I was gonna bring a slightly smaller one, but I'll get into the whole bear canister thing. The 55 liter was just gonna be better to fit everything for the Sierras. On the pack, I have the shoulder pocket, which is where I keep my phone and my sunglasses. Shelter system. I'm gonna bring the Hyperlite Mid 1. Love this tent. Used it on the Colorado Trail. I'm bringing 7 tent stakes. It only needs 6, but I'll carry 1 extra, and then I use my trekking poles to set it up. So currently I have the Black Diamond, I don't know, cork something trekking poles, but I did just recently order Durston Gear Iceline trekking poles, so those will be new for me if they come in time. I think I'm gonna bring those. And then when Luke comes out and visits, he'll bring the Hyperlite Unbound 2 tent, 2-person. It just fits both of us better. Sleep system. Last year I got the Kuiu 15 degree 850 down mummy bag. I love this sleeping bag. I'm so excited. I got a Cocoon, just a silk sleeping bag liner, just to keep the bag clean and it adds a little bit of extra warmth. I keep those in a Hyperlite dry bag, and then I have the Thermarest Neo Air X-Lite sleeping pad, tried and true, blow up pad. Used it for years. Shoes. I am currently rocking the Ultra Lone Peak 9s. This is actually new for me. I never wore Ultras, but they're everybody's favorite. But they finally came out with black Ultras in men's. And then for my camp shoes, Crocs. Clothing. What I'm wearing. So my main hiking outfit, I have an Under Armour t-shirt, Under Armour shorts, and my darn tough high Paul Bunyan socks. For extra clothes I'll be carrying, I'm gonna do an extra t-shirt, an extra pair of socks, 2 extra pairs of underwear, and then for additional layers I've got my -33 turtleneck merino wool base layer, my Kuiu Peloton 97 hooded fleece, my Mountain Hardwear puffy, my Black Diamond rain jacket, and my Marmot rain pants. And I keep all those extra clothes in a Hyperlite pod, that the pods fit the shape of the pack. Food and water system. So I'm gonna keep my food in the Hyperlite food bag, which comes with the rock bag and line to hang it in a tree. I've got a titanium spork. I am not bringing a stove or anything. I'm going stoveless for this hike. So that's it for food. For water, I'm doing the Sawyer Squeeze filter. I'll carry 3 smart water bottles in various sizes. And then I have the CNOC water bladder. Best water bladder ever. I've had the 2 liter forever, and then I just recently bought a 3 liter because I think I'll need to carry a little more water on the PCT. Electronics. So first of all, this is new for me, the Night Core headlamp. It's a little bit lighter weight than my old headlamp, but even more recently I was using a tiny little flashlight, which I love, but it's not ideal for like night hiking or setting up camp at night, so back to a headlamp for the PCT. Also new for me on the PCT, I'm gonna carry a Garmin InReach Mini 2, which is for like emergency satellite messaging type deal. Never carried one before, but I think it's pretty standard on the PCT. I've got my little tripod for filming my little YouTube videos. And speaking of filming YouTube videos, I have 2 Anker 20,000 battery packs, which is kind of overkill and very heavy, but necessary when you're doing YouTube videos. And then to charge those videos, oh my god, those battery packs. I bought this triple port charger. It's an Anker Prime 100 watts, so it should charge them really quickly, which is essential if you have like a quick town stop. Charging cords, and then my headphones. And I keep all of that in my 2-liter zippy, little zip across the top stuff sack from Hyperlite. Toiletries. Toothbrush and toothpaste. I do a little Dr. Bronner's soap and some wet wipes. Hand sanitizer. For going to the bathroom, I got a trowel. And then also new, I'm gonna try this backcountry bidet to try to limit toilet paper use. But I am gonna bring toilet paper as a backup. I've got the Diva cup, which is what I use for my monthly lady problem. On long hikes, I like to carry tweezers and nail clippers, bringing a razor. Q-tips are literally like my luxury item, but I love having some Q-tips on me. And I think I'm gonna start off with some sunblock. I'm not doing a sun hoodie, so I'll have a little sunblock for my face and arms. And then I keep all those toiletries also in another 2-liter zippy from Hyperlite. And then I have my little first aid bag also inside of that. So for first aid type emergency stuff, I've got my pocket knife, which I never use, but you kind of gotta have it, I guess. I keep a extra little lighter, fire starter, some Band-Aids, little single packet triple antibiotic. I also think I'm gonna bring a small tube of Aquaphor, couple alcohol wipes, gear repair tape, couple little KT strips for like blisters, Tylenol. I can't do ibuprofen, most people carry that. And then some allergy pills, Zyrtec and Benadryl. A needle with a little bit of thread that I never use. I always like to carry toe warmers on me. And an emergency poncho, just like a plastic single-use poncho. And then I do carry duct tape, by the way, but that I actually put on my trekking poles, so it's not like in my pack, but duct tape. Winter gear / Sierra editions. So in the Sierras, I'm gonna be there early. I'm gonna need some extra things. So I'm gonna carry gloves and microspikes. I actually probably will carry those from the beginning. I think I might need them sooner than the Sierras. And then once I get to the Sierras, I'm gonna have Luke send me my ice axe and my bear canister, which is a requirement for food storage in the Sierras. So that is all of the gear that I am basically starting out with, bringing with me. I do also have sort of like a standby box with some extra stuff that Luke could send me, which I'm gonna just get into in part 2, which is next. So let's talk about permits, mail drops, getting to the trail, town stops, mileage, stuff like that. Also had a couple of random questions from people on Instagram that I will answer at the end. So permits, if you are thinking you want to hike the PCT in the future, the way it worked this year, there was 2 permit days, one in November and one in January, where you can apply for a permit. It's sort of like a lottery, first come, first serve kind of process. You pre-register, and then for permit day, they give you like a random appointment time. You have no control over the appointment time. You log on during your appointment time, and then whatever's left for permits, you can take your pick from that. So they give out 35 permits a day from March 1st to the end of May. So I did apply in November, and I was able to get a late March start date, which is a tiny bit earlier than I wanted to start, but I would still personally prefer to start earlier rather than later. So that's that. You basically know then that you got it, but then they confirm a couple weeks later that you got it. And then 3 weeks before your start date, I think they're gonna email me, and then you can print your permit, and you have to have the physical printed permit before your start date. you have to print it, and then you have to be carrying it with you on the trail. So that's it for the main permit. Outside of that, there used to be, up until this year, like you could apply for the permit to hike over the border into Canada, but they terminated that program. So now, once you hit the border in Canada, you just have to turn around and hike back. I think it's like 30 miles backtracking to get off the trail. And then there's also a fire permit. So if you're gonna carry a stove, which most people do, you need to have a fire permit. I'm not gonna carry a stove, but I think I'm still gonna get the fire permit anyways, just for shits. But I haven't done that yet, so can't tell you much about it. What else? Let's get into mail drops, I guess. So if you're gonna resupply on trail, oh my god. So you have to get more food as you're hiking along the trail because you can't carry food for 6 months. So mostly I think people just resupply as they go. So once a week or so, you're gonna get off trail, hitchhike into town, go to the store and buy food. That's my preferred method. However, sometimes it makes sense to set up some mail drops ahead of time with food that someone could ship you, which you could pick up those mail drops either at a hostel or a post office or something like that as you go along the trail. Certain towns or areas of the trail might be harder to resupply or not have that many options, so that might be one reason you would do mail drops. Or if you have a very restricted diet, then you might struggle along the trail when you have to resupply at like a gas station or something. So anyways, I'm sort of setting up some mail drops. I'm not going crazy because, like I said, it's not my preferred method, but I do think that there might be times where it would make sense. So, let me show you where I'm at. Ooh, it's heavy. So, basically, I just did like single days of food. So, my first 10 of these are actually on the smaller side because I'm going to bring 5 days of food with me on the plane. And then I'm going to send my first resupply stop, 5 days of food. I don't know why. I'm gonna be stopping in Julian. I think it would be easy to resupply, but I don't know. Anyway, so these are a little bit smaller, less calories because that first 10 days on trail, I'm not gonna be nearly as hungry and eating as much as I will be later on the trail. So these are in these little quart-sized bags. I usually like to do a couple bars, a couple like fruit snacky kind of things. Oh, I got these Bobo bars. That's like my favorite brand of bar, and so shout out to John Holiday. Thank you so much. He sent me a couple boxes of these. Appreciate you. And then for dinners, like I said, I'm not doing a stove. I'm going stoveless, which I did do on the AT, but haven't done in a while. Pros and cons to that. But I'm doing like beef jerky type whatever for dinner. Once I get going later in the trail, when I have Luke send me some food, I have slightly bigger ones in gallon zips, so these just have more calories. I can't remember. I think I did like 2,500 calories, maybe 3,000 between there. So anyways, I set up maybe like 20 days of additional bigger days of food for later on the trail. And, oh, I should also say, I like to put them into like single days of food because that way, two things. One, when I'm like connecting with Luke while I'm on the trail and I'm like, hey, I'm gonna need a box here. I don't know now how many days of food I'm gonna need in that box, but then when that time comes, I can be like, can you just grab me 4 days of food? So he can just quickly grab 4 bags and it should be like simple, if that makes sense. The other reason I like to separate my food into individual days is because I don't want to have to dig in my pack during the day to find food, so I keep 1 day of food just in my outside pouch, outside pocket on my pack, and then all my other days of food are in my pack because then I don't need to get to that during the day. That being said, we'll throw a little wrench in there for the Sierras. So, for the Sierras, you have to carry a bear canister. This is the Bear Vault 475. I'm gonna have Luke ship this to me for the Sierras, and I fit 6 days of food in here. However, I could not separate it into individual days of food because he just really needed to like fill all the space in here in order to fit it. So it's just gonna be a very chaotic, confusing mess of food. But by then, I'm sure I won't really care that much. So that is specifically the food stuff for mail drops, but what about in addition to food? So, like I said, for the Sierras, he'll also have to send me my ice axe because I will not need this prior to that, hopefully. And then I'm starting to just get some other random stuff together that either I might need, and like I could be like, hey, I want my heavier fleece for the Sierras, and everything is just like in this box, so I can just have him open this box and grab the specific things that I need and add it to my mail drop box. Like these gloves. I don't think I'm gonna need these probably, but maybe for the Sierras, I don't know. If you need an ice axe, you might need some heavier duty gloves. So shit like that. Oh, my stove and my pot. Because like I said, I'm going stoveless, but I don't know, it's gonna be cold. Maybe I'm gonna regret that. So I could have him send this to me. I got a second pair of shoes already, so I'm gonna start with these. I got a second pair ready to go. Because sometimes it's hard to get that stuff while you're on the trail, or at least the nice black shoes are hard to find. I also have some like extra toilet paper, extra Tylenol, extra Q-tips, extra tent stake, extra razor. Like some of the stuff I could just buy as I go. Obviously, like Tylenol would be, you know, pretty easy to find. But I just figured if he was gonna be sending me a box of food anyways, I'm gonna have like a list in my phone of all the stuff that's in this box. So if he's sending me a box anyways, I gotta go to the post office anyways. It's like, hey, could you throw in that extra Tylenol and toilet paper in there? Thanks. Alright, I think that's all I wanted to say about mail drop stuff. I'm still obviously sort of working on this, but I've got like a month, so we'll get there. Other planning stuff, getting to the trail, so I did book all of that. I'm flying into San Diego, and then it's about an hour from the San Diego airport to Campo, California, which is where the start of the trail is. I am going to go to the bus station at Old Town, and I set up the PCT Southern Terminus shuttle. $75, goes twice a day, so I'm flying in the day before I start the trail, getting on the shuttle. They stop at REI and the post office and whatever, and then they bring you to Cleef, I think it's called, C-L-E-E-F, which is like an equestrian center, a quarter-mile from the trailhead, and they let PCT hikers camp there the night before they start. I'm all booked for all of that, ready to go. Once I get on trail, I've started kind of looking into like the towns that I want to stop in and like mileage between those towns, trying to get a rough idea of mileage per day, how much food I'm going to be carrying, stuff like that. But I'm honestly not going too crazy because a couple of things. One, you don't want to plan too much to a T too far ahead because shit's inevitably just going to change and then you will have done all of that for nothing. I think it's a good idea to get a sense of towns that you want to stop in, but not like waste all this time planning every little detail about it. I'm also hiking by myself to start, so I'm just gonna kind of wing it a little bit, which I'm really excited about. When you're hiking with somebody else, I think it's like more important to plan more thoroughly so that everybody's on the same page and has the same expectations and knows where they're camping each night or whatever. The other reason I'm not going crazy is because it wasn't far into it before I realized there are some confusing things. Hang on, let me get my phone. Less than 2 weeks in is San Jacinto, which there's like some off-trail miles to do that, and so that was a little confusing. I am factoring it in though. And then basically at mile like 350, there's like a burn area from before that's apparently gonna be closed for this year, and so there's like miles that you have to miss. It's not even on fire currently, so I don't know. Things just started to get confusing, so I was like, I'm not gonna drive myself nuts. I'm just gonna get on trail. We'll figure it out as we go. There'll be other people around. We'll see what other people are doing. Yeah, that's where I'm at. Although there is one more thing to this planning is Luke is gonna want to come visit me, And so I was trying to get an idea of like at what point the trail is somewhat close to an airport that it would make sense logistically for him to come. So I don't know. We'll just wing it. And then I did ask on Instagram if anyone had any questions about this type of stuff. So we got a few that I will just speed run through. Let's see. Are you planning to flip-flop? I start a little after you and I'm curious what everyone's plan is. I'm not planning to flip-flop, or I'm assuming he's sort of asking about skipping the Sierras. I'm just hoping and praying that it's just gonna work out and I can just keep hiking right through the Sierras. I'm gonna get there really early, so depending on the snow year, how much snow there is, it could just be impassable. Ice crampons and ice axe, what did you get? So I showed you my ice axe. I did zero research. Luke got this for me. It's a Corsa Alpine camp brand. He went to REI. I think there was one that was a tiny bit smaller and lighter weight, but it was like an obnoxious color, and so he knows me and got the more neutral black one. Crampons, I don't own those and I'm not planning on buying them. I'm bringing my micro spikes, so hopefully that's enough. Hiking boot recommendations. What do you wear? How long do they last? Price. For boots, when I'm doing like winter hiking, which I will also have those in here in case I feel like I need them for the Sierras, by the way, but I love my Salomon boots. But normally for long distance hiking, you're in trail runners. I'm new to camping. What do you pack for protein/meals? Once again, I'm going stoveless, which is not the normal. So for my proteins, I'm just doing like beef jerky type things. Is there any other protein in there? Oh, lots of almonds. I love the salt and vinegar almonds when I'm hiking. So good. How to mentally prepare yourself for a long hike. That feels like a longer question than what I want to answer right now, but mentally prepare yourself. I mean, like, you've got to be able to completely put out of your mind like your real normal life and enter this hike and just like adapt to like this is your new life now. And just, I guess, going into it like knowing that it's not going to be all fun. It's really hard at times and miserable and monotonous, and so having the correct expectations, I guess, going into it and knowing that it's going to be work. And then the biggest thing, I guess, is just wanting it bad enough. If you really want to complete it and finish it, like, anybody can do it. Where you're gonna put that bear canister. So yeah, I didn't put it in here for today's video, but I did already test out and put my canister in my pack. It does fit inside. A lot of people strap it to the top of their pack, which is what I was gonna do if I brought my 40-liter pack. But I decided that I prefer the 55-liter pack so I can put it inside and then it just makes it easier. The puffy jacket doesn't look waterproof. Why? He's not a hiker. So with hiking, clothing layers, it's all about layering so that you have versatility. So the puffy jacket is not waterproof, but if you need it to be, then you just throw your rain jacket on top of it. Changes between the Appalachian Trail and the PCT because of trail differences, i.e. climate, elevation, desert, etc. I feel like I kind of covered that in this video, but yeah, after doing the Appalachian Trail, it was just sort of like one set kit of gear for the whole trail. For the PCT, it's a little bit different because you've got the Sierras, which is high elevation and probably winter conditions. And then you've also got the desert in the beginning, and then you've got Northern California forest fires. Like, it's kind of all over the map. So yeah, Luke is gonna send me some of the gear that I need for the Sierras. For the desert, I don't know, I'm not really doing anything different. Some people would bring an umbrella to shade yourself from the sun, or a sun hoodie is another very popular one. I'm not doing those things. I might regret that. I guess I'm not doing much different for the desert, other than I have a bigger water capacity. So this is what I'm going with, and obviously I haven't done the PCT yet, so I will have to do an updated gear video at the end talking about what worked and what didn't. But I do feel pretty confident, I would say, going into this, that I have a solid kit. I put zero thought into how I'm gonna end this video, but if you have any thoughts, questions, concerns, you can leave them in the comments, and I guess I will just see you in California.